Before we get into the video, I need you guys to do me a favour. Number 1, like the video. Also comment. Let me know your thoughts on the story. Immaculately dressed, in the finest cloth, articulate, 55-year-old Kevin Lane is probably best known for forging a career as a public speaker and podcaster, and appearing on Channel 4's Banged Up, where he was put in a cell with Tory MP Johnny Mercer. Now, any person would be forgiven for calling Kevin Lane a functioning member of society and a good laugh. After all, Kevin showed all the hallmarks of civility. However, the truth is that much darker. Kevin Lane is often described as the nicest hitman and contract K you will ever meet. Kevin Lane was convicted of the M of car dealer and millionaire Robert McGill while he was out walking his dogs in Rickmansworth after 2 trials. Ultimately, he would be jailed in 2005. The judge called the contract case a notorious M that had all the hallmarks of gangs exerting their dominance and own retribution, living and exercising their own rules. 2 masked men had approached Robert McGill, who was said to be involved in extortion and racketeering and protection rackets, as he walked close to his home in Chorley Wood on October 13, 1994. Now, according to witnesses, one masked man had pulled out a sawn off from a bin liner before swishing his arms in an upward motion, index finger caressing the trigger. With no hesitation and a look of severe determination, the triggerman squeezed, striking Robert McGill 5 times at point-blank range. The witness also described the triggerman as having shoulder-length hair and having a tan complexion. Now, at the time, Kevin Lane was living in Tenerife, so police made that loose connection. Now, when Robert McGill was struck for the final time, the target area was the face, which means it was very, very personal. When police investigated the M, they said that they found a partial palm print found on a plastic bin liner, in which was allegedly used to conceal the sawn-off. The bin liner was found in the boot of a red BMW Kevin Lane had admitted using, and he says he borrowed the car from a person called O'Reilly. Now, when Kevin Lane's name came across the police desk, the police considered the case to be open and closed, because Kevin Lane was already very known to police. He was already an enforcer and very known in the north of England for taking people against their will. Now, despite running a security firm, Kevin Lane was an enforcer, as I said, that was paid a lot of money to settle disputes. Kevin Lane, by his own accord, admitted to breaking legs, ego-spreading people, so much so that the iron bar bent, and from the age of 15, Kevin had been known to be in a gang. He was always a leader as well. Now, police found a BMW in the Harrow area. Leonard Pip Bennett told police that he was instructed to dispose of the BMW. Other items found in the car was tested for powder residue, and it tested positive. Now, when Kevin was arrested and then questioned, he told police he did use the red BMW a week prior to the Robert McGill M. He also says that he used the BMW to run errands with the family, which could possibly account for Kevin's son's fingerprints on the car too. Also, the reg plate had been swapped. Now, police also noted that 2 weeks prior to the M, Kevin Lane had travelled back from Spain using a fake name. When questioned about this, Kevin explained that he used a fake name because he was being investigated for benefit claims. Now, Kevin said at the time of the tragic incident, he was actually at home and his partner could testify and give him an alibi for this. Now, police say that Kevin and an associate were contract Ks that masked themselves of being in the business of security. They were allegedly paid £100,000 to M. Robert McGill. Police believe that the second man was Roger Vincent, who had allegedly been involved in a number of high-profile M's previously. Now, Robert McGill had made a number of enemies over the year, and this was said to be retribution from something that happened in childhood. Police next searched Kevin Lane's mum's home. It was searched and they found a notebook inside. It was retrieved. Inside the notebook, multiple names were written. These were employees who worked for Kevin Lane. One of the names police noticed was an O'Reilly. As I said, O'Reilly had previously been described as the person who had purchased the M vehicle. Now, Kevin Lane has always maintained he was not involved in the M, and this was a great carriage of misjustice. An officer who worked on the case also, called Christopher Spackman, was said to have visited Roger Vincent while he was on remand. Now, Christopher was a corrupt police officer, and he himself had been jailed for plotting to defraud Hertfordshire police force of £160,000 by taking money that had been seized by gangs and criminals. Now, allegedly, Roger Vincent had a number of moles that could testify that Kevin was responsible for the M. However, vital evidence was not handed over. During the first trial, Roger Vincent was found not guilty for the M, and he was acquitted. As for Kevin Lane, he had a hung jury, so again, he was forced to stand a second trial. So in 2005, at the second trial, Kevin was found guilty by a majority verdict for the M of Robert McGill, and for that he was jailed for life with a minimum term of 18 years. Now again, Kevin was led away and then he was taken to Belmarsh Block 4. Kevin Lane had spent 20 years in jail before being a free man, and is still currently trying to overturn the M conviction, and just recently he's been recalled back to prison as well. When you live a certain type of lifestyle, for example being an enforcer, it's hard to scream for justice and fairness, especially when you yourself have done things like break people's legs and illegal spread people, not to mention extort people for upwards of £10,000. Stay safe.